She like bagel, you getting bigger. I remember when you was a little.
I represent for the dirty. DJ Hella Yellow, Smack Holler, Flintwood, Brand Salsa. This is what we doing right now.
Are you gonna pick it up?
I didn't dump it there.
Okay, so why you worried
I ain't
about
your
it?
slave.
Who the f?
Okay, it's time. The racism is spreading across all social media platforms. And it's not just a collection of offensive posts and saying slurs. It's the newest form of racism in the same old cycle. Black communities are exploited, our hardships get presented as intrinsic to black people, and any response is used to justify further exploitation.
One thing black people learn really early is everything matters when you're trying to do something, and likability is a part of that. When black people realize very early on, if you are not likable, you're not gonna get anywhere. Like, your personality has to be accepting but not eager. You have to be conflict resolution, but you can't let everyone walk all over you. You have to basically be the perfect person in order to succeed.
The racists are already fuming at the sight of this video. And you could say racism always existed or that it's just some words, but that isn't even true at all. And the internet is teaching an entire generation to participate in systemic racism without ever knowing its real name. The Carmelo Anthony situation was a tragedy. One boy lost his life and another went to jail. In my video about the situation, people felt like I was defending Carmelo. And if you feel that way,
we do not care.
I never said he was right. My point was that the internet could not leave this situation as just a tragedy between two teenagers. It had to become this racial discourse war on social media. They won't admit this, but people were more focused on him being black and then everything else after the fact. One black defendant became evidence for millions of black people who never even met him. And then after the trial, Austin's father is going to throw around slurs at Carmelo.
How about watermelon felon? How's that one strike you?
But let's be honest, grief can make someone angry, but we already know deep down inside this is how this man felt. And suddenly the people who spent months saying race has absolutely nothing to do with this discourse are nowhere to be found. Actually, they're probably still blaming black people. Now, it doesn't change the facts of the situation, but the internet refuses any real complexity. It wants you to choose between caring about Austin or acknowledging racism. So they think if we defend Carmelo, we're racist. You can believe that Carmelo defended consequences without trying to turn him into proof that blackness itself is just violent. The inability to separate one black person from the entire race is a part of the racism. When a white person commits a crime, they're treated as an individual, which is why racism for them is like a slap on the wrist. People start asking all these sympathetic questions, but if he's black, all of that goes out the window. Every black person has to answer for somebody that they never even met. So what is the point in even playing nice? When Cyrus Belton was shot in the back after being suspected of shoplifting, nobody said every Asian person was responsible. But any store that mistreats its black customers is responsible for this behavior, because this exact situation has already played out before. So another case of a black child entering a store like Trayvon Martin. But that suspicion holds more weight than a black child's life. There's a 1-year-old child that was just killed over diapers that were paid for.
On June 14th, 1-year-old Cohen Wiley was in the car with his mother and aunt after they had left the Walmart carrying one box of diapers that were allegedly stolen. The police's response? Opened fire on their car in Walmart in the middle of the day in broad daylight, taking the life of that little baby and wounding his aunt.
The hate has no age, no proof, just color. This is why people need to read and find these things, because these narratives will get twisted over and over again.
Nolan Wells' body was found yesterday off the coast of Mississippi. If you didn't know, he was presumed missing and dead on July 4th. He was celebrating with his friends for the 4th of July, and there's now circulating video that is going very viral of what looks to be him and his friends that he went with on the beach, and there's an argument, there's yelling happening. In the video, he looks to be very calmly standing still looking at his buddies. And somehow, the conversation is about his behavior. Why wasn't he on the boat? Was he drinking? Was he going from one boat to another?
And let's not forget the N-word.
She like bagel, you getting bigger. I remember when you was a little.
Cookie King, you're so funny!
Everyone's favorite word in the country for some odd reason. Every time someone gets called out for saying the N-word, what do they say?
It's just a word, bro. Words only have power if you give them power. Well, you guys say it all the time.
But notice how nobody says it's just a word till it's a word they desperately want to use. If I called your mom a bitch, I bet it's not just a word, right? Anyways, let's use some actual analogies to really explain this. A threat is not just words, or a judge saying that you're guilty is not just words. When you get married and you say your vows, that's not just words. But yet this word carries the message that black people are inferior and exploitable. So if you wanted a definition, you got one. It was used while black people were enslaved. You just don't care. You seem to forget that we were tied up, our neighborhoods were burned, and we were denied rights at almost every corner. But you think a few laws and a couple decades later that just all of a sudden is different? It's not different, buddy. And that's the issue. These racists will never know what it's like to be black. And if they did, they'd still fight for any reason to say racism does not exist. And when it appears online, it carries the same weight to remind a black person that no matter what we accomplish, they can try and reduce us to nothing.
Oh, the question is why you at my door asking me that I put this trash on the ground?
I'm just wondering.
Are you gonna pick it up?
I didn't dump it there.
Okay, so why you worried
I
about
ain't your
it?
slave.
Who the fuck you talking to?
I ain't your slave.
I ain't your slave either, bitch.
Social media simply made this more loud and profitable. It's all about getting people angry and making money. Half of these creators, black or not, I don't really believe they care either way. They just want to talk, but I could be wrong. But everyone knows that racial conflict keeps people on the platform arguing about nothing. And everyone gets mad, but no one emphasizes the history behind all this racial aggression. That does not mean we should stay silent. We need to keep advocating. They created this economy of racial hostility for a reason. We see in everyone's true colors in 2026. So when I speak on things that really happened, this whole video could probably get ignored. But when they say something's wrong with you people, any 5-year-old that got dropped on his head as a baby can agree with that statement. People love to say black communities fail because black people aren't building anything. Why did we build this whole country? But when black people had a thriving business district in Tulsa, otherwise known as Black Wall Street, the entire town was burned. Lives were lost, homes were destroyed, and so were the businesses. And we never got anything in return. And I know we're gonna get a, but what did they do? And I'll tell you, they did nothing. One white woman screamed, and the rest was history. So black people even now are told to build something, but anytime we succeed, it's seen as a threat. And we still see that today, like when we graduate or when we have proms. After the destruction, the same country eventually returns to asking why black people cannot possess more generational wealth. So what do? They destroy our wealth. That is all on us. During this same time period, black neighborhoods were intentionally redlined to withhold loans and investments to give access to that wealth, thereby influencing taxes, weakening school funding, access to employment, healthcare, and ability to start businesses. And then that passes down. Y'all understand generational wealth? Well, this is just the opposite. Then decades later, people look at the communities shaped by those policies and try to make these simple solutions in their mind that make no sense. America drew those lines, then blamed black people for being trapped inside of them. So many problems, so little solutions. So let's look back at Black Panther leader Fred Hampton, a leader who organized, fed children, offered education, and actually worked to unite people. And the FBI infiltrated his organization and they used a fellow Panther as an informant. Because we all know it's a lot of raccoons that cosplay as our allies. And once that information was known, they killed this man in his sleep. Now he was the same age as me. So America will try and ask why black people don't have any more leaders. But if they dare threaten order, they take them out or disrespect them, like when y'all AI generated our first black president as a monkey. And one last history lesson we should already know is the war on drugs and how it was used and implemented into black neighborhoods to crack down on poor black communities by putting that cheap alternative into their neighborhoods, which not only held more detrimental effects, but destroyed the families as well. Criminal records blocked employment and housing, and single parent households increased, making us lose more income and political power. Destroying the black man was just one part of it, but after the damage, they point the blame back at us, as if these instances didn't make it damn near impossible to recover from. And this is how the system maintains itself. It's not to say that it's impossible now, it's to say that everything done in the past 50 years has continuously been used to push us back down. Our poverty became labeled as laziness. Our trauma is us being emotional. Schools lacking funding somehow means that we're low intelligence, but thankfully a lot of us continue to prevail. And the same goes for the policing, the healthcare, and institutions, making us seem like the biggest threat while avoiding the real one. It's not that somebody dislikes us, since none of us asked for a hard difficulty setting, But this country has always produced unequal circumstances and then tells the story the way they want to and then expect us to get over it. They're not gonna like this video, and that's fine. Placing the blame all on black people just makes it easier for them to not change. Black Wall Street was hidden from most of us. Redlining was positioned as personal failure. The government planned to destroy the Panthers, and the war on drugs treated black people as if they were born criminals. All this to fuel these ideas they've stamped and brainwashed into these racists who I doubt have any idea what they're talking about. The story stays the same about black people, that we're the problem and we should be satisfied, as if our history isn't real or it has no context. And understanding a system does not mean denying responsibility. But let's not act like this is all on us, or that we could have done more when they've had every advantage in creating this system for us to fail. Y'all are only mad because we continue to fight back against it. There is no victim mentality because this is really how people see us. You cannot create the circumstances, hide your role in creating them, and then use the result to describe our nature. They still do the exploiting and blaming, and now we have a monetized algorithm doing the same thing. It made racism look like a joke, a statistic, or even worse, just a word. And every time America refuses to confront these issues, or where these outcomes even come from, it guarantees that another generation will mistake repetition for the real truth.
Wow, that was so powerful. Academy Award.